My dear friends, let me begin with a question. How many times have you said yes when your heart was screaming no? How many times have you agreed to things that drained your energy, your time, your peace, just because you didn't want to look rude? Listen carefully. Being kind does not mean being available 24 hours a day. Being generous does not mean being used. And being a good person does not mean allowing everyone access to your life. There is a beautiful difference between kindness and availability. Kindness is a value. Availability is a choice. And when you confuse the two, you end up exhausted. Let me teach you something powerful today. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something essential. When you say yes to unnecessary meetings, you say no to your growth. When you say yes to toxic conversations, you say no to your peace. When you say yes to people who don't value you, you say no to your self-respect. Life is limited. Your energy is limited. Your energy is limited. Your emotional capacity is limited. You cannot attend every drama, fix every problem, reply to every message, and still expect to grow. Now let's understand something educational and practical. Your time is a resource. Your attention is a resource. Your emotional energy is a resource. And like any limited resource, it must be invested wisely. Many people struggle to say no because they fear rejection. They fear being misunderstood. They fear losing relationships. But let me tell you something clearly. Any relationship that collapses because you set a boundary was already weak. Strong relationships respect limits. Now, how do you identify unimportant things and people? Unimportant things are those that do not align with your goals. If it doesn't contribute to your growth, your health, your values, or your peace, it is optional. Unimportant people are not bad people. They are simply people who do not respect your time, who only call when they need something, who disappear when you need them, who bring gossip instead of growth. And here comes the hardest part: guilt. Oh yes, guilt will knock on your door the first time you say no. You will feel uncomfortable. Your heart will race. You will overthink. You will replay the conversation in your head. That is normal. It is psychological conditioning. You were trained to please, but growth requires discomfort. The first no will shake your voice. The second no will strengthen your posture. The third no will protect your peace. Saying no is not aggression. It is clarity. Let me give you practical strategies. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "That doesn't fit my priorities right now." Instead of saying maybe later, say, "I won't be able to commit to that." Be calm, be direct, be respectful, and most importantly, don't over-explain. Over-explaining is a sign of insecurity. Remember this educational principle. Boundaries are instructions on how to treat you. If you don't define them, people will define them. People will define them for you. My dear friends, your future depends more on what you refuse than what you accept. Success is not only about opportunities you grab, it is also about distractions you reject. You cannot build a focused life with a distracted mindset. You cannot build a peaceful life with chaotic relationships. You cannot build a strong identity while trying to please everyone. Let me tell you something that will change the way you see yourself forever. Being kind is a virtue. But being constantly available is a weakness when it is not controlled. Yes, I said it. There is a powerful difference between kindness and availability. And if you don't learn that difference, life will slowly drain you without you even realizing it. Kindness comes from strength. It is a conscious decision. You help because you want to, not because you are afraid. You give because your heart is generous, not because you need approval. But availability without limits, is fear dressed as politeness. It is the fear of disappointing others. It is the fear of rejection. It is the fear of not being liked. Listen carefully. When you are always available, people stop respecting your time. When you answer every call immediately, reply to every message instantly, cancel your plans to accommodate others, you are teaching people that your life has no structure. And what happens? They begin to treat you like an option. You were not born to be an option. Being kind means you support someone when you truly can. Being available means you sacrifice yourself even when you cannot. And there is a huge emotional cost to that sacrifice. You feel tired, frustrated, sometimes even resentful. But you smile and say, "It's okay." No, it's not okay. Suppressed frustration becomes silent anger. Silent anger becomes emotional distance. And then you wonder why you feel disconnected. Understand this educational truth. Boundaries protect kindness. Without boundaries, kindness turns into self-neglect. Imagine a candle. A candle gives light. That is kindness. But if everyone keeps lighting their candles from yours, without you protecting your flame, eventually you melt away. You disappear trying to brighten everyone else's room. You don't need to disappear to prove you care. When someone asks for your time, pause. Ask yourself, do I truly have the emotional capacity for this right now? If the answer is no, then saying no is not cruelty. It is honesty, and honesty builds respect. Powerful people are kind, but they are not endlessly accessible. They don't answer at midnight just to look supportive. They don't attend every event to avoid gossip. They choose, they decide, they prioritize. And here is the uncomfortable reality. The moment you stop being available all the time, some people will complain. They will say you changed. They will say you became distant. Let them talk. Growth always looks like arrogance to those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. You must understand that kindness does not require exhaustion. Love does not require self-abandonment. Generosity does not require self-destruction. Start practicing selective availability. Be fully present when you choose to give your time. Give quality, not constant access. When you are with someone, truly listen. Truly care. But when you need rest, when you need focus, when you need space, protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. You are allowed to be kind without being consumed. You are allowed to help without being used. You are allowed to care without carrying everyone's weight. And the moment you understand that difference, your peace will increase. Your confidence will rise. Your peace will increase. Your confidence will rise, and your relationships will become healthier, stronger, and built on respect instead of convenience. Let me shake you a little with this truth. Every time you say yes to everyone, you are silently saying no to yourself. Yes, you may smile. You may look generous. You may feel needed. But inside, something is being sacrificed. Your time, your focus, your energy, your dreams. You only have 24 hours in a day, not 25, not 30, 24. And every yes occupies a space inside those hours. So when you say yes to things that do not matter, what are you removing? The gym session you skipped, the book you didn't read, the business idea you postponed, the rest your body was begging for. Do you understand the cost? People think saying yes makes them good, but uncontrolled yes makes you exhausted. You become the person everyone depends on, but no one considers. You become reliable for others, but unreliable to your own goals. Let me tell you something powerful. Successful people are not those who accept every opportunity. They are those who reject most distractions. If it doesn't align with your priorities, it's interference. When you say yes to unnecessary drama, you say no to mental clarity. When you say yes to helping everyone solve their problems, you say no to solving your own. When you say yes to being everywhere, you say no to being exceptional somewhere. And listen carefully. People who always say yes are often afraid. Afraid of disappointing. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of losing approval. But living for approval is the fastest way to lose your identity. You were not born to be liked by everyone. You were born to fulfill a purpose. If you say yes to every invitation, every favor, every request, you will slowly feel overwhelmed. And then resentment begins. You start thinking, why am I always the one doing everything? But the real question is, who taught them you would always say yes? You did. You trained people to expect unlimited access. Understand this educational principle. Your schedule reflects your priorities. If your schedule is filled with other people's agendas, then your own vision will suffocate. You cannot build discipline if you cannot say no. You cannot build success if you cannot protect your time. You cannot build self-respect if you constantly ignore your own needs. The hardest no is the one that protects your future. Sometimes you must say, I can't commit to that. Sometimes you must say, that doesn't fit my goals, Rig. HT now. Now. Sometimes you must choose silence over explanation. And let me warn you, the first time you begin saying no, some people will react. They will question you. They will test you. Stay calm. Stay firm. You are not being selfish. You are being strategic. Your dreams require space. Your growth requires time. Your peace requires boundaries. If you keep giving your yes to everyone, you will have nothing left for yourself. So before you say yes again, pause. Ask yourself, is this moving me closer to my purpose or further away? Is this strengthening me or draining me? Is this necessary or just comfortable? Because every yes has a price, and if you are not careful, that price will be your potential. Let me speak to you with intensity. Right now, if you do not understand your personal boundaries and your energy limits, life will push you until you break. Yes, until you break. Because the world does not automatically respect invisible limits. If you don't define them, they will be ignored. You are not a machine. You are not an unlimited resource. You are not an emotional storage unit where everyone can dump their problems. You are a human being with a finite amount of mental strength, emotional capacity, and physical stamina. And if you do not learn to measure that capacity, you will constantly feel overwhelmed. First, understand this clearly. Boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines. They are instructions that teach people how to treat you. If you answer work messages at midnight, you are teaching people that your rest is negotiable. If you tolerate disrespectful jokes, you are teaching people that your dignity is flexible. If you cancel your priorities every time someone calls, you are teaching them that your time is secondary. And then you complain that people don't value you. No, they are responding to the limits you never communicated. Energy is your most precious currency. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can return. But drained energy takes time to recover. When you ignore your limits, your body reacts. You feel fatigue, irritation, anxiety. You start snapping at people you love. Not because they are the problem, but because you never gave yourself space to recharge. Listen carefully. Self-awareness is power. You must learn to recognize when you are mentally tired, when you are emotionally overloaded, when you need silence instead of noise. That is not weakness. That is emotional intelligence. Ask yourself honest questions. How many social events can I truly handle in a week without feeling exhausted? How much responsibility can I carry before my performance drops? How many favors can I do before resentment begins? These answers are different for everyone. And that's okay. Stop comparing your capacity to others. Some people can socialize every day. Others need solitude to function. Some thrive under pressure. Others need structure and calm. Your limit is personal. Respect it. And here is the powerful truth. When you cross your own limits repeatedly, you teach yourself that your needs do not matter. That is dangerous. Because slowly, you lose connection with your inner voice. You become reactive instead of intentional. Setting boundaries requires courage. You may need to say, I can't take on more right now. You may need to decline invitations. You may need to step back from people who constantly drain you. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. Growth always feels uncomfortable. But when you protect your energy, something magical happens. You become more focused, more patient, more productive. Your yes becomes meaningful because it is intentional, not automatic. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot inspire others if you are constantly exhausted. You cannot build a powerful life if your energy is scattered everywhere. So start paying attention to your internal signals. The headache, the tension, the emotional heaviness, those are warning signs, not inconveniences. Respect them. Adjust. Reclaim your space. Because when you finally understand your boundaries and honor your limits, you stop surviving and you start living with strength, clarity, and control over your own peace. Let me speak to you with honesty and strength right now. Not everyone in your life deserves front row access. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every voice deserves your attention. And the moment you understand how to identify unimportant people and distractions, your life will change dramatically. First, understand this clearly. Unimportant does not mean worthless. It simply means not aligned. Not aligned with your goals. Not aligned with your growth. Not aligned with your peace. And if something or someone is not aligned, keeping them too close will slowly derail you. Pay attention to patterns. Who only calls you when they need something? Who disappears when you need support? Who always brings gossip, negativity, criticism, or drama into your space? These are not small details. These are warning signs. A person who constantly drains your energy without adding value is not a priority. They are a distraction. And distractions are dangerous because they feel harmless at first. Scrolling endlessly, engaging in useless debates, attending gatherings where nothing meaningful happens, listening to people who mock your ambitions. These things seem small, but they accumulate. They steal your focus, little by little, until you wake up one day, wondering why you haven't moved forward. Look at your circle carefully. Do the people around you challenge you to grow, or do they comfort you in mediocrity? Do they celebrate your discipline, or do they tempt you to break it? Do they respect your boundaries, or do they laugh when you try to set them? Adbury, strong people respect limits. Weak people test them. And here is something powerful. Not everyone who smiles at you supports you. Some people enjoy having you around because you make them feel superior. Some keep you distracted because your growth makes them uncomfortable. When you start improving, watch how some faces change. That reaction tells you everything. You must also identify internal distractions. Yes, not only people but habits, procrastination, overthinking, seeking validation online, saying yes to comfort instead of commitment. These are invisible enemies. They whisper softly. They say, relax. You deserve a break. But they turn into weeks of delay. Ask yourself hard questions. Does this conversation bring insight or just noise? Does this activity move me forward or keep me stagnant? Does this relationship push me higher or pull me lower? If the answer is no growth, no respect, no positivity, then distance is necessary. You cannot rise while carrying unnecessary weight. You cannot focus on building your future while constantly managing other people's chaos. And you cannot demand excellence from yourself while entertaining mediocrity around you. Be selective, not cold, not arrogant, selective. Protect your environment like it is sacred, because it is. Your mind absorbs what surrounds it. If you stay around negativity, you will think negatively. If you stay around ambitiously, choose wisely. And remember this with intensity: you are not responsible for maintaining relationships that sabotage your peace. You are not obligated to attend events that waste your time. You are not required to entertain conversations that shrink your vision. When you finally learn to identify what truly matters and what does not, you stop reacting to everything and start directing your life with purpose, clarity, and unstoppable focus. Clarity and unstoppable focus. Let me prepare you for something that feels heavy but is absolutely necessary. The first time you say no, guilt will visit you. It will sit in your chest. It will whisper in your ear. It will try to convince you that you are selfish, rude, unkind. And if you don't understand the psychology behind that guilt, you will run back to saying yes just to make it disappear. Listen carefully. Guilt is not always a signal that you are wrong. Sometimes it is a signal that you are breaking an old pattern. Many of us were raised to believe that being good means being agreeable, that being loving means being available, that being respectful means never refusing. So when you finally choose yourself, your brain reacts as if you are doing something dangerous. Why? Because you are stepping outside the identity you built around pleasing others. That discomfort is growth. Guilt appears because you are challenging expectations. You are changing the dynamic. And people who benefited from your constant yes may react emotionally. They may say, "You've changed." They may act disappointed. And their reaction triggers your guilt. But let me ask you something powerful. Is it truly kindness if it comes from fear? Is it truly generosity if it leaves you exhausted? If you are saying yes just to avoid feeling guilty, that is not love. That is emotional conditioning. Understand this clearly. Healthy guilt appears when you hurt someone intentionally. Unhealthy guilt appears when you protect yourself. When you protect yourself. When you say no respectfully, calmly, honestly, and someone feels upset, their disappointment is not your responsibility. You are responsible for your behavior, not for managing everyone's emotions. This is where emotional maturity comes in. You must separate empathy from responsibility. You can understand someone's feelings without sacrificing your boundaries. You can say, I know this might be inconvenient for you, but I cannot commit to that and still be a good person. The problem is that many people confuse discomfort with wrongdoing. Just because it feels uncomfortable doesn't mean it is wrong. When you start exercising after years of inactivity, your muscles hurt. Does that mean exercise is bad? No. It means you are strengthening something that was weak. The same applies here. Your no muscle has been inactive for years. Of course, it feels painful at first. Let guilt pass through you without obeying it. Feel it, but don't surrender to it. Tell yourself, this discomfort is temporary. My peace is long-term. And here is the powerful shift when you stop saying yes out of guilt. Your yes becomes authentic. You help because you truly want to, not because you are afraid. You give because you have energy, not because you feel pressured. Some people may leave when you stop overextending yourself. Let them leave. Anyone who only stays because you constantly sacrifice yourself is not connected to you. They are connected to your convenience. You are allowed to choose your priorities. You are allowed to protect your time. You are allowed to disappoint others when necessary to avoid disappointing yourself. The guilt you feel today is simply the echo of your old habits fighting for survival. Stay firm, stay calm, stay grounded. Because the moment you push through that guilt, you step into a stronger version of yourself who acts from clarity, not fear, and from confidence, not approval seeking. Now listen to me very carefully. Saying no is not just a decision, it is a skill. And like any skill, it must be practiced with clarity, courage, and strategy. You don't wake up one day suddenly confident, you train yourself. You prepare your words. You strengthen your tone. You align your posture. Because the way you say no determines whether it creates conflict or commands respect. First strategy, pause before you answer. Stop reacting automatically. When someone asks you for something, don't rush to fill the silence with a yes. Silence is powerful. Take a breath. That pause gives you control. It tells your brain, I decide, not pressure. Most people say yes because they fear awkward silence. Learn to sit in it. Second, be direct and simple. Do not over-explain. The moment you start giving long justifications, you weaken your position. You are not in a courtroom, defending yourself. A confident no sounds like this. I won't be able to commit to that. Calm, clear, final. When you say I, yes, so sorry. I feel terrible. Maybe I can try. I don't know. You are leaving the door open. And people will push that door. Third, use priorities as your shield. Say, that doesn't fit my priorities right now. Notice something powerful here. You are not rejecting the person. You are protecting your focus. This shifts the energy. It shows discipline, not rejection. Fourth, repeat if necessary. Some people will test you. They will ask again in a different way. Stay consistent. You do not need new excuses. Repeat your answer calmly. As I said, I can't take that on right now. Confidence is consistency. Fifth, control your tone and body language. If your voice shakes, if your eyes drop, if your shoulders shrink, your message becomes weak. Stand upright. Speak slowly. Maintain eye contact. You are not attacking. You are asserting. There is a difference. Aggression pushes people away. Assertion commands respect. And here is something critical. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop saying sorry for protecting your time. If you must apologize, do it once briefly without guilt. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't. That's it. No emotional drama. Practice in small situations first. Decline an invitation you don't want to attend. Refuse a minor favor that overwhelms you. Strengthen the muscle slowly. Each successful no builds confidence for bigger moments. Understand this deeply. When you say no clearly, you reduce misunderstanding. When you say maybe but mean no, you create confusion. Clarity is kindness. Ambiguity is frustration. Clarity is kindness. Ambiguity is frustration. And always remember, you can say no without burning bridges. Gratitude plus firmness is powerful. Thank you for asking, but I'm not available. Respectful. Mature. Strong. You are not rejecting people. You are directing your life. You are not being selfish. You are being intentional. Every confident no creates space for a meaningful. Every confident no creates space for a meaningful. Yes, every protected boundary increases your value. Because when your time is not easily accessible, it becomes respected. Start today. Speak calmly. Stand firmly. Stand firmly. Protect wisely. And watch how your confidence grows each time you choose clarity over comfort, discipline over approval, and self-respect over unnecessary obligation.